Section 166 deals with identification for people leaving incarceration. And this is essentially Cory Booker's New Pathways Act of 2019. Again, it goes back to the question of how do we establish justice? What is that, like the Constitution says we're supposed to be doing? And if incarceration is to reform and rehabilitate people, when they're released, we want them to get back up to speed with normal productive lives. And requiring them to track down ID documents puts unnecessary speed bumps in their path. And so Section 166, again, applies to federal prisons only, but it would require the Bureau of Prisons to help prisoners obtain identification documents prior to the release, so that when they're freed, they have the documents that they need to get a job and to do the things that will help them reintegrate in society without putting unnecessary regulatory roadblocks in front of them. With respect to U.S. citizens, the Bureau of Prisons must obtain and provide a Social Security card of U.S. citizenship document, such as a birth certificate, a photo ID card, and again, for U.S. citizens, a debit card for their digital treasury account, which we're going to talk more about in part 17 of these hearings and those sections, so that an incarcerated person, when they're leaving, has access to their funds in their digital treasury account, that they have the resources to meet their basic needs on their release. With respect to non-citizens, Bureau of Prisons must help obtain proof of lawful status and, if applicable, an employee authorization document, again, to help people get up to speed when they're leaving incarceration. These are common sense things. Some states already do these, and by putting this practice in place on the federal level, again, we can lead by example and address these problems up front. So with that, Mixed Chair, I think that concludes my testimony for Section 166, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, thank you. Are these IDs compliant with the Real ID Act?
They are, yes. It's a requirement in there that they be Real ID compliant. So if that goes into effect and people need to board commercial aircraft, these IDs will serve for identification purposes.
And you stated that they would receive several forms of identification, correct? Social Security card, birth certificate, a couple others, right?
Right. Yeah. Social Security card, birth certificate, a photo ID card, and then a debit card for their digital treasury account. So, so they'll have the essential things for being reintegrated into the community.
The photo ID card, though, is typically assigned by the state, so whatever state they're in. So that could be like, how do you deal with all the different ways that states handle that, particularly with permanent addresses, which not every prisoner has?
Just a second, let me see if I can pull this up in the respect to the director shall provide a photo identification card prior to the release of a United States citizen. I guess I'm not sure how to answer your question about how it correlates to state ID cards.
Well, so we'll have, so the idea is we would have federal ID cards that can be issued. Is this a new ID card?
It's a great question, and I guess I don't have a specific answer for you, but some sort of ID card that would establish their identity and would meet the standards of the Real ID Act. I guess I'll be happy to work on it with the subcommittee and see if we can figure out more of the details.
Fantastic, thank you.